Alright guys, I'm always Mute the Weirdo, and please bear with me, because this video is a rant, and more importantly, I'm going to try and put my thoughts across on whether these rumours that are flying around about Borderlands 3, if true, might just spell the end of the Borderlands series. And let's go right back into it. Go into it and tell you where I'm coming from, because I've just watched a video. I forget who it was from, but I know his source was Morning After Kill, who is a massive Borderlands fan, plays a lot of Borderlands. I am now questioning this guy's, I guess, thoughts or his fandom to the Borderlands franchise, but I'm also thinking, well, he's quite a big YouTuber, when it comes to Borderlands and stuff, so maybe it doesn't really matter what they do with the game for him. I don't know, I haven't seen his comments on it, I've just heard what he said is coming to Borderlands 3 coming February onwards, and wanted to give my thoughts because it's really got me a little bit wound up. So first of all, the two things that they say are coming from Morning After Kill: he had a meeting, someone else has had the meeting and not got that same vibe from them, so I don't know whether they've been specific as to who they tell this information, giving certain exclusive information to certain YouTubers. Maybe they're just trying to stir up conversation about this, and if so, well done, you've got that conversation, and hopefully it is just that, because these two things really not something I want in Borderlands 3. I can see the benefits to a certain extent, but let's go for it. Let's get these two things out. A battle pass. Now, I don't know any details. Obviously, this is just, I just know what a battle pass usually means. It means a seasonal content of, I guess, the full price of a game, or maybe 3/4 of the price of a game, like probably no more than like 40 quid for a season's worth of content. And then the more you play the game, the more you get out of that sort of run, if you will, that season. Now, don't get me wrong, I see the benefit of that for games like free-to-play games. Fortnite and stuff have a battle pass. They have that season pass because it's a free-to-play game. Nobody's paid £40 to £100 for the game that they've paid for. They've not paid that, so they're supporting the development of the game by giving a little bit for the season pass, and in that sense I don't mind it. I don't particularly go for that. I'm not interested in season pass, battle pass of that nature. I don't play a lot of free to play games what require me to spend money on them, because to me a free to play game is that a free to play game. I'm supposed to be able to play it for free, and I don't see why I should have to spend money on microtransactions. I might occasionally, for certain games I want to support the development of, if they've got like a Doctor Who Legacy, a match free game that I play, has a fan area, you pay like a few pound for it, it's worth it. You get quite a lot of content, and then they started doing more and more of this, and I lost interest in the game because they were just fleecing everybody for more money on a free-to-play game. It shouldn't be a labour of, gathering money. If you want to make money, don't make free-to-play games. Or if you want to make money, make a free-to-play game like Warframe, where there's silly people who spend like upwards of £100-200 on the game every year. Make a game like that with a hardcore fan base that really will just spend whatever they bloody well want on the game and don't care, and don't quite acknowledge, like I'm saying, don't get me wrong, if you like it and you've got money to burn, go for it, do what you want, but I just think some people need to be a little bit more sensible with the money, and paying 50, 60, 70 quid or whatever for Borderlands 3 and then getting told, oh, you've got the season pass, that's say 30, 40 quid, so there, you you're talking about £100, maybe £80, £90, something like that. And you've got the season pass with 4 DLC campaign, and there's tons of free content, which is great. And you know, you've got the full game. Now, granted, the full game, from my perspective, the story wasn't the best. It's not as good as 2's story, but it's grown on me. I do like it a lot more now, and the DLC so far has been good, so I'm happy with the DLC. I'm not really gonna grind about paying 90 or so pound and getting the DLC and everything. I think that's great, but my issue is, if you then add a battle pass and you're expecting me to pay for that as well, that's more content that if I don't buy it, I am losing out on more content. Because you are greedy. Not because you haven't done well, because the game's done well. Because you're greedy. And I don't mean greedy in a way it was like... I mean greedy in a way like you claim, and this might not be Borderlands themselves, this might be 2K. We've seen it before, Activision, and this, like, oh, we need more money, so we'll fleece them of more. People will buy it. Yes, people will buy it, because there will always be some thick fuckers out there who you are going to take advantage of, because they'll go, oh, I really want that, I can't not have it. People who are addicted to the content, people who are addicted to the game, and will go out there and spend whatever cash they've got on your game because they love the game. Now, there's nothing wrong with them loving the game, it's the fact that you know that they love your game, so you're putting stuff in there that they don't necessarily need in the game, just to fleece them of that little bit of extra cash, just to get more and more and more and more grand, and it's not right. It should be outlawed. AAA games should have a law stating that they cannot have microtransactions in them. Because we need the games to be top notch, we need the game to be complete, and we do not need the game to have a little side pot. It's not a game of poker. And the fact that it is easily likened to a game of poker says that it's wrong, because gambling is not really a widely supported thing. You can get addicted to it, same way you can get addicted to games. Yes, there's treatments out there for gambling, yes, there's probably treatments out there for general gaming as well nowadays, but that's not the point. It's unethical for a company to have microtransactions in a game that is a fully... DLC is different. That's my problem. DLC is a considerable chunk of content, and you don't have to buy these things, so I get why they put them in there anyway, just to see what they can catch, see what people they can get to spend a little bit more money. But when your press is primarily, a lot of it is centered around there'll be no microtransactions, is it fun? No, it's not in the game. And then there's rumors flying around that you're gonna do that. Expect backlash, serious backlash. I'm not a massive fan of microtransactions, never have been. I don't mind if you want to put microtransactions in there for stupid shit and it's really minuscule amounts of money. Like if you put microtransactions in there for like cosmetic items, if it's really low bits of money and you don't necessarily need them for any particular reason, like I'm fine with that. I can maybe go, oh well, there's a really cool skin there that's really cool. Oh, it's only £1 or £2. Oh, you know what? Maybe every now and again I might treat myself to a new skin if I see one that's really cool. That's fine. So I'm not absolutely against them, but I do think that they use them, and the battle pass, we've got a season pass. If you want to put a battle pass in there as well, like why? Like I don't see it fitting with the Borderlands world. It feels like a cheap grab at the hardcore fan base that's gonna like not give a shit because they just want more content, more Borderlands content. But it looks like it's sort of from, I've seen a picture. Not sure if it's genuine, not sure if it's just ripped from another game and then given the Borderlands flavour. But I don't want to see some little system in there where you have to pay more money out to do it. If it's a battle pass, which involves you spending the in-game iridium to get the battle pass, and you maybe have to have an insane amount, that is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. And then, for me, the main thing is microtransactions should not be in Borderlands free, unless, like I said, I wouldn't mind if it was like new skins and they were like ridiculously good, and you might buy one or two every, you know, if they brought out a pack every sort of couple of months, and they were like, oh well, that one's really cool, so I'll just get that one. And maybe if you wanted the whole pack, you had to spend like a $5 or something. If it's minuscule, then that's fine. Microtransactions, the key word there is key bit of that is micro. If they're micro, tiny, that's fine. But microtransactions in some games tend to go upwards of the price of the game. If anything is above a tenner for me, I'm like, this is fucking cheeky, and it shouldn't be in the game. It's a AAA game. You've paid, well, as far as I can remember, I paid £90. So it's probably like $100 or something for this game, and it's like, well, no, I'm sorry, I've paid for this game, and I've paid for the season pass. That's the content I want. I don't want you to start working on side plots and side pots that create tons of cash because you couldn't be bothered to make the game good enough to entice people in the first place, to make that cash off the bat anyway. You've made a lot of money out of this game, you know you have. You know there's still going to be more money to be made, because unlike the sensible games of the world, you thought it'd be a really good idea. I'm going to have to find somewhere to move that. Alright, so basically you signed a deal with Epic Games to basically shut off half your PC market, and I guarantee you did that. You know that there's going to be a flood of people wanting to play the game who just refuse to buy it on Epic Store. I know I've got at least one or two friends who will probably, they'll either not play it ever, or they'll just play it on Steam when it comes out on Steam. I don't see why you did that deal. I mean, if it might have helped you, I guess. You might have got tons of money that helped you in other ways that we obviously are not privy to, but personally I think it just shut out half your market, on the PC market anyway. Consoles obviously has not touched that, it's fine, but I think there'll be a few people who might have switched to buying it on console because you went with Epic Store. And that's hurting your consumer yet again, because most PC gamers would prefer to play it on PC. But if they don't want to play it on Epic Store because they don't like the way they run their shit, then, well, what can you do? And, you know you made that mistake. Even Brandy Pitchford was saying, oh, well, blah. You could tell he was flustered by the fact that everybody was clamouring for it to be on Steam, and it probably didn't do as well on Epic Store. I don't have statistics or anything. That's just my... Ooh. Breathe. Anyway, so, my thoughts on the Battle Pass. I'm not gonna lie, if it's true, I'm not impressed. Like, my main thoughts would be, do you want to go the same way as Bethesda and Activision, more recently Bethesda? Because Activision took a massive hit because of all this loot box bullshit and other microtransactions and stuff, and they felt it. You can tell they felt it. They came out and said that they felt it. Yes, they still survived, but they felt it. And yes, they probably got a few people interested in those things, but not enough to justify the amount of people they lost. That's going to happen to Borderlands series if you do continue with this. I'm not so sure about the Battle Pass thing, because even though I don't personally like it, there's a lot of kids and people, younger adults and what have you, playing games like Fortnite, who might just see it as a Borderlands style Fortnite-esque sort of thing. Now, I don't like it. I don't want it. Basically says the AAA game we made isn't fucking that good, so here's this. Yeah, you might say, oh no, we're building on that. Well, you're not building on that though, because you're taking it into a completely different realm, which is not a Borderlands thing. Battleborn, you know, personally, I don't know what you felt about Battleborn's success rate, but the reason Borderlands was so successful in the first two games, and pre-sequel to some extent as well, is because of how it is, because of the simplicity of it, because of it was being fun. If you start integrating these elements from other games that aren't Borderlands, don't get me wrong, there's certain things where you could learn from, but you're not doing those things. What you're doing is you're learning from the games that don't fit with your games, trying to make more money. You're not learning about things. You need to focus on the customer, not on the money. Because if you focus on the customer, the money will follow. But the money won't follow if you don't focus on the customer. Customer, we you know, the idea, I'm sure, of like, if you working this out and it's not going quite so well, and like you don't get it, then the product is you are the product. So if we take that angle and we say that the consumer is the product for Borderlands, then why are you shitting on your customers with microtransactions and other means to make more money out of a game that you should be getting complete content full from the get-go when you pay that money? It's like, if you want to make a free-to-play game and just keep adding other stuff that basically cost people money, market it like that. Don't market it as a AAA title if you're not gonna finish the fucking job. Anyway, so microtransactions, not a fan. Never really spent, like I said, much money on microtransactions, and if I have, it's usually been a free-to-play game that I want to support, not a AAA game that is just clamouring for more money. I'd hope that Borderlands fans out there, if this does happen, will join in unison and sort of, you know, make it known that this is not what we want for the game. I mean, you know, some people will like it, I guarantee, but me personally, I think it's a terrible idea. I'm not convinced it's true, and I won't be until either the next Borderlands show or when it actually hits when some. Right, I wish there was a place I could go where there weren't somebody talking away. Where's my room? Shoot and loot. They like talking too much. So, you know, there's lots of things that I feel like they could add in if they really, really, really needed to make a few extra dollars or a few extra pounds from microtransactions, because the game isn't quite selling as well as they'd hoped, because they've not put it on Steam until like April or whatever, March, April time. Like room decorations, they could add more of those. They could, you know, they could add more skins. They could have more heads. There's lots of things they could do. Now, I just don't want to have to pay. I've paid for the season passes already. I would pay for story content DLC if they brought out another season pass with more content along that line, like DLC or little missions like the Headhunter DLCs, the little, you know, single mission stuff. I'm quite happy to pay for that, or maybe when the PS5 comes out and they release a Game of the Year edition, which is highly likely, get the Game of the Year edition with all the content and happily pay some more money down the line for that. That's fine. But there's no need for microtransactions, really. If you do put them in, they need to be like cosmetic and not affecting the gameplay, because that's the whole point of Borderlands. The gameplay is great. Yes, it's not as good in some ways as the second one for a lot of people, and I think, me personally, I think people who YouTube in, I'm even myself, I've not been doing a lot with this game compared to what I thought I would be, but people who are YouTubing a lot, there's a lot of people out there saying the loot needs to be nerfed. It's dropping too often. You need to think about what is dropping. Not how much it's dropping, but what it's dropping. Because it's not dropping too often. Because the guns that you're getting, the legendaries you're getting, aren't that fucking good. They're not up there. They're not top loot. You don't wait 2 hours for a legendary and get nothing. You're supposed to wait for 2 hours for a legendary and get something awesome. You don't in this game, because the key is you're not wanting a legendary, you're wanting an anointed legendary, and they don't drop enough at all. And maybe for some people they've got a really high spec build into all the awesome loot luck bonuses. They've guardian ranked the luck as high up as they possibly can, maxed out that. They've maybe got some relics with decent luck. They've got they're using the right class mod that gets them that, you know, stuff like that. It's really like ridiculous how pathetic in comparison the loot seems to be in terms of power and like anointeds, and you know, the anointeds, they're great when you get a good one, but it just feels like you're grinding for eternity to get the one you want or get the loot that you want. And it is a lot about community. Like, obviously, if you know people who are doing the same thing, grinding together. I've had most of my best gear has come from other people. Like, there's some kind of strange psychic link between me and the game, and the game's like, oh no, you don't need, you want that one, you want this loot with this legendary anointed, oh well, guess what, have this rubbish one that you've got about 20 times. Like, seriously, like, there's stuff that they're gonna do, events and stuff, really good idea. If they switch it up and go Game Pass, I think a lot. I don't think it'll bring many people back, but I think it might put a lot of people off. Campaign DLC, I'm super hyped for more campaign DLC. It's great. It's where Borderlands at its finest, and I hope that continues. But there's a couple of things for me that really do not seem to be shining towards Borderlands team. If this is the way they're going, they're clearly not paying attention to the gaming world. It's like Activision took the massive hit from not listening to their fan base, or listening to the elite in their fan base, because let's face it, that's what Gearbox are doing with all these nerfs. They're fishing out the elite YouTubers are saying, oh, this gun's really too good, and this gun's really good. Nerf. Not making other guns better, making the best guns worse, making their loot, the things you strive to get to, worse. So why would you strive to get a good gun if you know that they're just going to nerf it when it becomes the best gun in the game? It's pointless. It makes no sense. And it's the same mistake that other looter shooters have made. If a gun, they try and balance it. With Borderlands, it's not a PvP. It is not PvP. So there is no need to balance the guns whatsoever. They say there is because, oh, I want people to try all the guns because there's that many. Look, that's not for you to decide. Somebody else might only pick that gun, and it might not be the best gun. It might be average, but they use that gun because that's the gun they want to use. They like that gun. They like the pattern on it. There's lots of reasons. People don't just like the gun because it fucking mows through enemies. I've got a couple of guns that are probably quite shit, and when I've got to the point where it doesn't matter how powerful my guns are, I quite happily go back and use the fun guns, the guns that I put them on my wall. You know.
No, that wasn't it. Huh, should write that one down though.
And like, I don't know. I just think they really could be making a big mistake. The other one, actually, I've just remembered, is Bethesda. Bethesda did the old Vault thing with Fallout 76, the online thing. It's flopped. I didn't even buy it. That's how disappointed in it I was. The amount of bugs that were in it. Game developers are not being held accountable for their actions when it comes to releasing buggy games, and better yet, releasing games that are buggy, then fixing the bugs, which create more bugs, and then fixing those bugs, and just going in that bug cycle. I know it happens, but look at No Man's Sky. Hated beyond belief for basically being forced by Sony to be pushed out too early, and then they've worked their ass off ever since to fix it, to make it better, and it's turned things around for them. Don't be like Activision or Bethesda and make a mess that you can't get yourself out of. Like, I'm not that convinced I'll be bothered about buying another Fallout game. Maybe not even another Elder Scrolls game. Definitely not another Call of Duty game. Because I'm just getting sick and tired of the same shit every year. They just hash it out. They don't actually change a drastic lot. There's nothing wrong with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I get that. That's what Borderlands is like. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we always like to throw something new in there to spice things up. And that's fine. But if you start looking at stuff that's made other games fail and thinking, maybe we can do that better and make it work. No, the reason that failed there is because it's always going to be doomed to fail. Like, some stuff might not fit into that. But personally, microtransactions, you've got to be really micro with it, really mini, like if you can, less than £1. You're more likely to make money out of stuff that's less than £1 because people can afford that, and everybody can afford that. Don't price half your market out because you'll want more money. Just wait. Just seriously, the content you're creating is pretty good. It's not Borderlands 2 level, I don't think, for me, and there's a lot of holes in the content this time round that weren't there last time round, or that it didn't even cross my mind to be doing a video saying, oh well, the Borderlands DLCs, it's not quite up to scratch, because didn't even think about it, because all of it was top notch. When I played it, it was great. And for want of a better word, people saying that people are leaving the game in droves and this is their way of getting people back. No, their way of getting people back is when the DLC drops. Their way of getting people back is being patient. If they hadn't have nerfed every weapon they thought was good in the first month or so, people probably would still be playing, because people will be finding new guns that they like, and the top fucking 5-10% was finding all the best guns and making them nerf them. Now, what's about the other 90%, Gearbox? What about the other 90%, Randy Pitchford? Why did you forsake the other 90% of Borderlands gamers? Why did you forsake the majority for the 10% elite, like, who maybe play it 24/7? Why do you penalise the ones that don't play your game 24/7? Because they're the ones that you need to keep interested. The people who are very elite, who move on regardless of whether they really love the game, they'll always play it, but they'll always play other things as well. There's a lot of casual gamers who maybe just play Borderlands, who once that game gets a bit shitty and boring because all the loot's been nerfed, they might go and not play Borderlands anymore, and they might not play anything else. They might just, I don't know, do what else they're into. They might decide that's the last Borderlands game they're going to play. They might just play other games and never come back to Borderlands because you just nerfed the guns. You didn't give the game chance to settle in, give the people chance to enjoy what they had before you started tweaking it and nerfing the guns. Now, if there's a bug, then fix it. If there's a an issue that makes the game not fun, then fix it by all means. But if it's just a gun is too powerful, then give it time for people to experience that it's too powerful before you decide you want to nerf it. You know, a couple of months at least. There should have been no nerfs until the first DLC came out. Then you can start tweaking the base game while people are playing the DLC. Much better. And then if you find after people play the DLC there's nerfs that need to be done there, then nerf it. Let people play through it once as it was released, because you created it. You created it like that. So if you didn't want it to be like that, you should have changed it before you released it. And maybe that's what people need to do in games now, because personally I think they release them just to get the cash, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the fact of, if they don't spend enough time on the game and release it finished, they're getting shit. We're getting shit, and it's not good. But yeah, so sorry I haven't been really doing some gameplay, but at the minute I'm feeling really animated, and I just wanted to really hash this sort of out, get my thoughts across about the rumours. There's not really a lot to go on. I'm hyped for the Borderlands show, see what they respond with. The rumours have been flying around, and I'm hoping that's it. I'm hoping they are just rumours. I'm a massive fan of the series, and I hope this isn't the end, but as the title says, could the future be the end of the series? Could this be the last game in the series? Because I don't think it is, but the more I look at this game and the way they're handling the DLC, the more I feel like it might be, because a lot of people are getting a little bit sort of tetchy about stuff like microtransactions, and teams that big companies, big developers and game series like Call of Duty and Fallout 76 have kind of been hit major by consumers going, I'm going to vote with my wallet, you get fuck all from me anymore because you're taking the piss out of me. And that's what it is. And this has done really well, this game, Borderlands 3. I will say I was watching Angry Joe's video where he put Borderlands at joint number 3 in his top games of 2019, and I think that's a fair assessment to be in the top 3. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's other games that I think should have been on that list, but that's personal preference, and I respect Joe probably doesn't play these games that I would put on that list. But seriously, don't make the same mistake Activision, don't make the same mistake that Bethesda have done. Please, Gearbox, please, Randy, don't shove microtransactions into this game where it's not needed. If you want to make microtransactions in there, at least make it the tiniest thing ever, like a side thing that's not relevant, because people don't really want it. They want more skins, they want more content, but they don't want to spend 50, 60 more pounds on a game that they've already paid for. And yes, they have already paid for it. And yes, I know you need to make money in order to make the next game, but you also need to understand that people shouldn't really be paying free-to-play style microtransactions on Borderlands. So keep it minuscule, and then you might have a shot at keeping people interested in paying those prices. As for the Battle Pass, I need more info on that to judge it properly, but what I saw was a free option at the top and the bottom was paid, and I was like, right, basically sort your shit out, because that is wrong. By all means, if you want to set up a free Battle Pass thing where you do challenges to get more loot and stuff, like a normal, like the Guardian rank sort of system but expanded, fine, that's fine. But if you want to start robbing people of more money just to get a little bit, and it did look like just a little bit, it didn't look like major stuff. I mean, a few keys, a bit of iridium and stuff like that, no. I'd be interested to see where it goes. I hope there's going to be a Borderlands show before the end of the month, ideally sooner rather than later. But I just want to say, do not make the same mistakes. Destiny didn't build on the success that it had, and it will never replace Borderlands because it's just not good enough for me. And the only reason people loved it so much is because it's realistic graphics. It got away from the cartoony vibe of Borderlands, and that honestly is my thoughts, that the only reason people gravitated towards Destiny more than Borderlands is because of the graphical style, and they didn't like Borderlands' graphical style. And that's fine, you're okay to feel that way, but personally I think it's a pretty terrible reason personally for not liking another game when it was, as many would agree with me, I'm sure, is the original and the best looter shooter. Borderlands 1 and 2 just smashed it out of the park. Destiny just didn't feel, I mean, maybe it's the sense of humour of the game as well, but anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now, and yeah, if you've got any thoughts on whether we're getting a battle pass, if you've got any thoughts on microtransactions in Borderlands 3, do leave a comment down below and I'll try and reply to everyone. I can't see that being much of a problem at the minute, and yeah, just hopefully this isn't the end of Borderlands series, but yeah, hopefully I'll get some more content, Borderlands content out soon. I can give you a bit of an update just before I go, that my PC is pretty much almost ready to go. Those of you who know me might know that I make my own music, haven't done for a while properly, and my new PC should hopefully be enable me to get back on that, and also produce a few Planet Zoo videos as well, because I'm really liking the Planet Zoo videos that I'm watching from Geekism and Pawsley. It's really, it's hard watching them play Zoo Tycoon, bloody hell, Planet Zoo. It's hard watching them play it and get involved with the content, and me not being able to do that. My laptop just won't be able to handle it, so I wait for my PC to be rebuilt, recalibrated, all that, and hopefully I will be back on form again this weekend. So bear with me on that, guys. But yeah, if you want to see some Planet Zoo, also drop us a comment. Any other game that I've played over the last year or so, I'll hopefully have access to those as well. But yeah, if you liked it, my little rant, please do drop us a like. Feel free to dislike if you wish. Hey, but if you do dislike, just saying, be nice to hear from you why you didn't like it. Because I know that there's a lot of people who would have a reason for disliking it, and at least then, if I know, I can maybe make it a little bit better for you next time. But yeah, I will obviously be running around next time I play some Borderlands. I'm not really a massive fan of sitting here and just like not doing anything. Nobody wants to stare at it. What's the point of the video? I should have done a podcast. But hey, I'm not a podcast person, and yeah, I will hopefully see you in the next one, guys. Have a good one.